the contemporary global realm. The contemporary global realm. What is this contemporary global realm all about? How is the present world? What is the role of India in the contemporary global realm? Coming to the point, the term contemporary realm is we need to discuss the global issues in the current day, particularly how the things are going on before COVID and after COVID, and the present century, 21st century particularly. Many scholars predicted the rise of Asia in the 21st century, and instead there is a thinker called Professor Joseph Nye. He called it as recovery of Asia. So there are two words, rise of Asia, recovery of Asia. Realm, contemporary realm, it might be maritime, it might be terrestrial, it might be technological, it might be cultural. And where does India stand in the entire contemporary global issues? So I have observed few tendencies in the contemporary global realm in the perspective of international relations and in the perspective of India and Indo-Pacific. Let's see what are the issues that are flaring up, what are the issues that are coming up in the contemporary world. The first issue I am observing is rising protectionism and barriers to trade and immigration. Vaccine nationalism, trade wars, hyper nationalism, we are observing the protectionist tendencies in various countries in the world. This preference is a great setback to globalism, and also it is increasing the north to south divide also, global north and global south. The first point is we are seeing in the contemporary realm the rising protectionism in various countries and also encouraging trade barriers in their countries. So imposing more and more customs duties, not allowing foreign goods, not allowing migrations and immigrants. The trend like America is for Americans, Germany is for Germans, Britain is for only for Britishers. You have seen the trends like till recently the Trump's policies, anti-immigration policies, the Brexit, why it has happened, all these things, and the growing trend of rightist politics in the world, the end of ideology debate. These two things. In various countries we are seeing the rightist politics are winning over. This is also the contemporary global trend. The next important trend which I have observed is the rise of China and Chinese expansionism. The rise of China and Chinese expansionism and consequent global counter consolidation. If you see China and Chinese aggrandizement policies, how China is silently doing that. First is string of pearls policy. China is trying to encircle India in the Indian Ocean itself. China is trying to counter India in the Indian Ocean itself. India is a queen of Indian Ocean and we call it as a subcontinent. But China, in the name of infrastructure development, port development, is trying to encircle India. For example, in Myanmar, Coco Islands, in Bangladesh, Chittagong port, in Sri Lanka, Hambantota port, in Pakistan, Gwadar port. So, by constructing ports and other infrastructure projects, China is trying to contain India encircle India in the Indian Ocean region. This is the thing we need to understand. And China is also actively pursuing OBOR, One Belt, One Road policy. The long term goal of China is by 2049 2050, it aims to become the global power. It wanted to dominate all the countries. So, the hidden agenda of China is this. You all know the famous statement, bide your time, hide your strength, never claim leadership, Deng Xiaoping said. So, that is China's strategy. You have observed that China have territorial issues with all its neighbors, almost with all its neighbors countries. Recently, Chinese intrusions into Galwan Valley and how India tried to deal with it. See, 1962 how China attacked India. From 1962 till date, how it is trying to assert its role. China is claiming the entire state of Arunachal Pradesh. So, Chinese aggrandizement, Chinese quest for territorial expansion never ends. And to counter China, it is not that only India is taking a call. There is a group called Quad, QUAD, Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. India, Japan, America and Australia, they had a Quad particularly to maintain rule-based international architecture, to give respect to international law and to also protect maritime security. As you all know, China have ambitions not only territorial but also maritime. China is claiming the important regions in the South China Sea also. So, we need the rule-based international order, we need the rule-based international architecture, and America started pivot to Asia policy also in this respect. As you all know that world politics are also shifting from Atlantic to Pacific. You have observed world politics are shifting from Atlantic to Pacific, not only to counter China, but the century is Asian century. And the formation of Quad, and if you see by 2050, the topmost economies in the world are not from Atlantic but from Pacific. Almost all the top economies, I think except America, even Goldman Sachs survey also says like this. So, the important issue is the contemporary global politics is Chinese expansionism and Chinese aggrandizement. Coming to other issues in the contemporary global realm, we have observed the American presidential elections in the recent past, Joe Biden's victory, and how tough it have become to deal with these elections even for America and American people, and reversal of Trump's policies in America is a trend I am observing now. One is America rejoining in Paris Climate Deal, America rejoining in UN Human Rights Council, America rejoining in World Health Organization, all these things. And but whoever is the president of America, American hegemony in world politics continues. Day before yesterday we have seen American attacks on Syria. So, it might be Democratic government, it might be Republican government, the hegemony always continues. So, the recent examples how Joe Biden warned Iran by attacking Syria. So, presently we have to wait and see how Joe Biden is going to act with India and what is his policy towards India. But still, for America today, India is very, very important. You have seen the recent signing of BECA, Gismova, Lemova, BECA, all these agreements, logistic agreements are playing a crucial role in India-US relations. Particularly from 2001 onwards, America started war against terrorism, for which India is also working for. Very, very important for this partnership. And the next important trend in 2020, and 2021 beginning, which I have observed in global realm, is growing environmental disasters which affected entire world, entire regions. So environment and disasters, they don't follow or adhere the rules of territorial boundaries. So they go beyond borders, they go beyond boundaries. So the present contemporary realm is facing tough in environment. Bushfires, wildfires, Amazon forest fires, and the pandemics and the disasters. And we are observing increased frequency of disasters due to climate change also. In India, if you see India specific, locust attacks, floods, drought, and even you have seen natural calamities in India, Uttarakhand disasters, landslide, avalanches, all these things in a single year. So in the contemporary realm, environment is a major concern, and climate and disasters are interlinked topics. So we need to have an urgent climate deal immediately. The world countries have to take action. They need to protect global commons. Global commons include the water, the high seas, the air, the land, and the other things which we enjoy in common. But unfortunately, even space and outer space, unfortunately, no country bothers about global commons. For example, even today, America is the main polluter. It releases around 22% of greenhouse gases, but it takes no much responsibility to protect the climate. So we need to take a call on it. We need to immediately take a call on it. And in global commons, you have one more aspect, cyberspace. Now, cyberspace have become a global common. Recently, there is a news about Budapest Convention with respect to cyber crimes. India not yet signed this convention. And the other thing is in climate change. We need to work not only the climate and environment and other things, but also we need to work with respect to space and space wastage, all these things, space junk particularly. And the next important concern in the contemporary global realm is impact of non-state actors on sovereignty, impact of non-state actors on various countries. For example, tech giants like Facebook, Google on sovereign countries. Recently, you have seen Twitter blocking the Trump's Twitter account, and Facebook playing a crucial role. Google, all these things. In Australia also presently, there is a big tussle that is going on between Australian government and the contemporary tech giants, Facebook, Google, all these things. So how tech giants are taking lead in the contemporary global realm. So it is not governments, it is technology and technological giants which are ruling the world. Even we need to check on this, because the one thing which we cannot control is technology today. Technology is needed, but it is a double-edged sword. Technology is very, very important, but that is a double-edged sword. We need to protect our sovereign countries, and there is a very, very important phenomena in technology. You have seen recent Cambridge Analytica episode, how it got data from Facebook, it tried to manipulate elections in America, and how now the manipulations are going on through various social media and other sites, all these things. So technology, we can use it positively. Technology also produces some disastrous consequences. There is an urgent need for the world countries to protect the people, countries and citizens from technological innovations negatively and technological dangerous consequences also. This is very, very important. And in the contemporary global realm, we know that The Cold War have come to an end in 1991 with the disintegration of Soviet Union. But with the disintegration of Soviet Union, this is a big question. Is the non-aligned movement lost its relevance? But you have seen in the COVID world and post-COVID world how we need to encourage South-South cooperation, how all these 120 countries in the NAM should come forward together to address various common problems, to solve various global common problems, all these things. So, relevance of NAM have become a very big question, and in the post-COVID world, we are understanding that South-South cooperation, for South-South cooperation, NAM is very, very important. So, we can see the resurgence of the third world countries and their common demands in the recent past. And you all know that India is a 8th time non-permanent member of United Nations Security Council. So there is an urgent need to reform UN. UN and UNSC. UNSC should represent the global realities today. P5 countries, the permanent 5 countries in the UNSC, are very, very powerful in the post-World War period. But now many countries are emerging, like India, like Brazil, like South Africa. If you see the global South, they were not at all represented in the UNSC as permanent members. There is an urgent need to reform UNSC, and there is an urgent need to review the veto powers in the UNSC, to reform UNSC and to review the veto powers in the UNSC. This is also very important. So we need to bring multilateralism in the global politics, in the contemporary world, and we also need to counter American hegemony in world politics, and we need to work together for transforming the world from unipolar to multipolar. And coming to the world institutions, world economic institutions particularly, the IMF, the World Bank should become more democratic. And in the recent past, particularly where there are trade wars and other things, the vaccine nationalism and other things, relevance of World Trade Organization is a big question. Relevance of WTO. Now recently, last week you have observed a woman becoming Director General of WTO, particularly a woman from third world country, a Nigerian woman. So let's see how she is going to take a balanced view on environment and trade, environment and development, that is, to put it in a single word, sustainable development, and how the world is going to lead with the 17 sustainable development goals, as we are having a big targets on them, the 17 goals like removing absolute poverty, abolishing that, hunger, abolishing hunger, and protecting environment, promoting gender equality, all these things we need to promote. And the entire world is now in the contemporary politics, in the contemporary realm, we are seeing a new chapter called intellectual property rights, where the developed countries and countries supporting their MNCs, multinational companies in the developed countries, they are trying to corner all the IPRs for all the important things, and the poor countries are lagging behind. The developing world is lagging behind this IPR concept. So this we need to reverse. The countries like India, the countries like Brazil, the third world countries should take a lead in IPRs. They should not leave the complete room to the rich countries and the developed countries. Particularly here, there is a concept, MNCs, particularly pharmaceutical companies, they are trying to eat away whatever left in the third world countries. This is pathetic. And you have seen, just now I told, technological giants. Now I feel that though they are non-state actors, they are trying to pose a great challenge to the sovereignty and the strength of nation states. So if you leave these technological giants uncontrolled, if you leave them with free hand, they might take the complete lead and they may dominate the sovereign countries also. So, immediately there is urgent need in the contemporary global realm that there should be guidelines and regulations, and all countries should come together and take a concerted action on this. And in the recent past, we have seen many issues. The biggest issue, according to me, in the contemporary realm is terrorism, state sponsored terrorism. In the year 1996 itself, India introduced a resolution in the UN General Assembly, Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism. It is the 25th year of CCIT, introduction of CCIT, but the resolution is not passed. The one thing the world is facing, the one big thing is terrorism, but unfortunately, there is no holistic convention or international law to deal with all sorts of terrorism, and there is no commonality in the definition of common agreement in the definition of terrorist also. This is the situation in the world. The CCIT is not yet passed, is not yet approved, agreed, and the world is facing racism, xenophobia. See, Indians are beaten up in Australia, Africans are beaten up in India, blacks are beaten up in America, the George Floyd incident, Black Lives Matter movement. What is this in the 21st century? As we all know, everybody's blood is red in color. Humanity should come first, rather than color, region, race, caste, all these things. From local level to international level, we are seeing this differences within and among humans and humanity. This should be stopped immediately. Humans and human beings, human race is always the first, should always come with togetherness. That's very important. And the other thing in the contemporary realm is arms race. India, China, Russia, America, arms race. So, at least there should be some common agreements with respect to reducing the arms, disarmament, particularly reducing nuclear disarmament, all these things. Everybody should have that responsibility. Every country should take up that responsibility. So, disarmament is a need of the hour. You are seeing the piling of arms, how various countries, you are seeing the condition in Russia also during Cold War period, how Russia spent a lot of money for preparing so many equipments, weapons, arms, and finally it is selling off. So, it is always a white elephant, but always needed, no doubt about it. But if every country is peaceful, if every country follows a self-restraint, we can minimize our arms, weapons, and we can use that money for welfare. And you have seen in the world, new pandemics, new epidemics are coming up. Bird flu, swine flu, corona, COVID. So, we need to work on new medicines, new vaccines, and we need to predict new diseases, and we should be prepared. We should be prepared for any eventuality. See, corona taught us a lesson, how vulnerable we are. We have seen the advancements of science and technology. We are going to the moon, we reached space, but we could not conquer the corona even till date. Nobody knows how it affects exactly till date. So, this is a mystery in the world, this is a vulnerability in the world. And disease, drugs, malnourishment, hunger, poverty in the third world, in the contemporary global realm, this is the reality. Even in the 21st century, people are starving. Even in the 21st century, people cannot afford medicines. Even in the 21st century, students in various countries cannot afford education. So, this is a situation which the humanity has to feel really ashamed of. In the world today, we are observing technologically, educationally, developmentally, health-wise, north-south divide, global north and global south. The difference, we can bridge the gap, but who has to bell the cat? Unless the rich countries, unless the developed countries have that aim to bridge the gap between the global north and global south by funding, by technology transfer, by helping, by addressing the poor countries' concerns, how come we can bridge the gap between the global north and global south? And the trend we are seeing by 1950s and 1960s in the world, almost the colonialism got an end. It have come to an end. Imperialism have come to an end. But the trend is now neo-colonialism and neo-imperialism. The trend we are observing now is neo-colonialism and neo-imperialism, a new form of colonialism where MNCs are coming and dominating, putting conditions to the sovereign countries, and new free trade agreements are controlling everything. And I can tell you a best example, Scramble for Africa. You all know that almost the entire African nation, entire African continent, all the nations in Africa got colonized almost, and they got decolonized also. But now the trend is Scramble for Africa. The rich countries, the Britain, France, all these countries are going to Africa. Their MNCs are going to Africa, investing in Africa and exploiting the natural resources, human resources in Africa. The new term that was coined is Scramble for Africa. Scramble. So now the quest is, what we need is multipolar world order. The multipolar world order. Now, what is India's role? What is India's role? And what initiatives India should take to play a more proactive role in the global politics? As you all know, India is a soft power. Though it is a nuclear power, though it has all strengths and strong defense, India never attempted for a preemptive war. India responded when some country attacked India, either Pakistan or China, but India never attacked on its own. India never went for a preemptive war. So the first thing is, India again should play a leading role in NAM, should play a proactive role in non-aligned movement. That's very important. That's the need of the hour for India. That's very important. That's the need of the hour for India. And we need to have an urgent need in UNSC reforms, and India should play a crucial role in the UNSC also. And in WTO, IMF and World Bank, in all these institutions, India should play a crucial role. So, as a regional power, India is following Gujarat Doctrine. Now, India trying to reconnect with its friendly neighbors, particularly following Gujarat Doctrine. Gujarat Doctrine in the sense, do help to your neighbors, do favor to your neighbors without expecting much back from them. Do help to your neighbors, do favor to your neighbors without expecting much back from them. India is doing that. India started Project Mosam. India, that is the reconnecting with its Indian Ocean friends. India is also harnessing blue economy. Our Prime Minister Modi ji has started a new concept called SAGAR, 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 security and growth for all in the region. SAGAR, particularly for the Indian Ocean friends, we have started a new concept, a new theory called SAGAR, SAGAR, security and growth for all in the region. And India is now, no doubt, is a regional power, sixth largest economy in the world now. And now India is playing a good role as a good neighbor. And fantastically we can observe vaccine Maitri. India is providing vaccines to many third world countries. India is aiming to provide that for more than 100 countries. Vaccine Maitri, this is a fantastic thing. When the world is debating about vaccine nationalism, India is helping the other countries. As Lakshmana is providing Sanjeevani, Lakshmana have provided Sanjeevani to the world, India is providing COVID vaccines to the world, particularly third world. This is a fantastic gesture from India. Also, we can call it as vaccine diplomacy. Whenever our neighbors are in distress, whenever they need our help, India is the first country. India is ready to help them all the time. But now, India should not be a mute spectator or silent spectator in the global politics. You have seen the episodes in Myanmar. You have seen the episodes in Syria, in the episodes in Palestine and Israel. Immediately, India need to be more proactive and should respond to the humanitarian calls in the world. India should be more proactive in the global humanitarian calls. Only then, India can become a big power in the world and can counter China's aggrandizement. You have seen India is becoming part of various regional groups. It's good. But India should also become a part of various regional economic groups to strengthen and consolidate itself. As you all know, Deng Xiaoping said, no country in the modern world can prosper with a closed door policy. India should have more and more economic integrations. At the same time, India should also protect its own people. It's going to become the largest populous country in the world. It has now the advantage of demographic dividend. So it should harness its human resource. And you all know that Indian diaspora is everywhere in the world. We can use our diasporic strength to rebuild the confidence of India and reconnect India to the world in a more vigorous and a stronger way. This is how we can hope India to be the best with its human resource, with its diaspora, and with its strength in pharma industry, with its strength in IT sector, particularly with its stability of democracy as it's the largest democratic country in the world, and how well we are faring in our democratic values. We need to spread it to the world, and we need to reconnect with new types of diplomacies like yoga diplomacy, vaccine diplomacy, and other track 2 diplomacies. So this is how we can expect the contemporary global realm tomorrow. And